This is going to be the third episode of three, final episode of the argument between xQc and Ethan Klein. The argument portion was covered in entirety in the previous two episodes, and in this portion, xQc gets in touch to Destiny, and I don't know, like, what he's actually believing in his mind, but the impression that I get is that he's delusional and that he actually thinks that he somehow won the argument or that he did well in the argument. But I'll leave it up to you to decide, and we'll switch it over to live me to cover the argument. Thank you for tuning in. There's links down in the description to the playlist if you want to catch the previous two if you haven't already caught those, and any subscriptions or likes would definitely help out the channel because we're pretty new. And what else do I need to cover here? Oh, and if you want to get notifications of when I upload videos or when I go live, turn on the notification bell. Thank you very much. Turn it over to live me. So today's episode, we're back again with the Ethan Klein xQc argument. This is going to be part 3. If you haven't seen the previous episodes, I've got a playlist that shows just the argument between xQc and Ethan Klein about the content stealing that Ethan is accusing xQc of in the description. I'll have to check the descriptions on the live shows, but anyway, the previous live shows will have the live versions, and if you check my channel's playlist, you'll see a playlist that has the videos of just the arguments by themselves without all the other live content, if you prefer to watch just those videos. All right, today's part, this is going to be part 3 of the and the final part of the argument, and this is after Ethan and xQc finish their discussion or argument, and xQc gets in touch with or reaches out to Destiny to talk about how he feels he did and get Destiny's opinion and kind of ignore Destiny's opinion. All right, so here we go.
How'd that go, like? Did you watch it or not?
I watched it, yeah.
How did I do? Tell me how, actually. Just don't try that. If I did really bad, you just tell me. I don't care. Listen, I'm not trying to cash in a win or whatever, but yeah, go ahead.
I'd put it between, I'd give you a 2.5 on a 10 scale.
Okay, tell me why.
That's fair.
Okay, just a couple of things, okay? So, one, okay, I think it would help to organize your thoughts before a debate, like do like a formal outline, because I think Ethan does that, and it helps him to keep his thoughts straight, because you want to like rattle off a lot of different things, and it's tempting to go to a lot of different places, so that's one. And then two, I think you gotta bring the chill way up and the snark way down, because it seemed like you were getting like really mean really quickly.
But
those are two really good points. Also, you need some facts if you're going to make claims, would be another point I would make. And if you're going to say, you know, that you aren't doing something, you need to, you know, have some kind of defense for, you know, when somebody points out that you are doing it.
well, you told me this was about optics. Now, if it is all about worldview and morality, I had to just get him mad, and I got him mad.
What good is that going to do?
I don't know.
I don't think he was ever mad in that conversation. I think he probably feels pretty good.
Maybe for like less than 10, maybe 15 seconds at most, he was a little bit agitated at most.
About all of that. I don't think he was.
I don't think there's a singular creator that likes to be at their peak viewership and exit out of a convo room saying that he's balling out and he's happy. You don't believe that either. I think you're just kind of trolling.
What?
Okay. Well, if you think I'm trolling, I won't give you any feedback at all. I know for a fact, 1 trillion%, we can come back in 2 years and revisit this, but he's absolutely not mad. That conversation probably went better than he could have ever expected it. He had you crawling around like a worm on his screen while he was like getting you point after point after point after point after point.
Well, I'm garnering views, and I'm
True.
I guess I'm stacking deals in cash when he's mauling out there, man.
What is how much money you have to make anything to do with how well you did in the debate? Literally nothing to do.
It seems like I'm doing pretty good for myself, to be honest. I should have sprinkled some content. My bad. Next time I'm just gonna.
I really got to work on saying literally. Like, I need another word to put in place of literally. I say that way too much.
Sit here and wait till Ethan rolls out 1,000 word rant and have his wife come in and fucking.
I've never heard Ethan going on a rant either.
Support him. Some character, man. Pog. What was that, man? What was even?
Odd pog. Even.
Well, I don't get it.
Well, I think if the goal was to just make money or make content, I mean, you're always winning there. But I don't think that's what the debate is right? Just
he tried to make the money argument the whole time. That
no, I'm saying that if the goal is to see who has more money by the beginning and end of the debate, obviously you won that, right? But
then don't bring fucking antics and whatever, because I mean,
who brought the antics? You were the one doing the worm. That was the only antics I saw.
That's the only way I could get the point across. That like. Yeah,
I think there are, I think there are strategies before doing the worm that we can employ to get points across, I think.
Okay, fair enough. Go ahead. So I'm supposed to not anger him and bring the stats way down.
Nobody said you shouldn't anger him. I'm just saying, what purpose does it serve in your argument when you're, I mean, I guess if you have no argument, I guess angering him is all you can do, but I mean, you could have made a couple points, like the graph, and if you had evidence of the community that you try to build with the creators that you steal from, I mean, you could have brought some proof to that if you had any. You could have shown other charts that show that every time you upload a reaction video that the graph constantly shows there's no increase in decline. If you have evidence of that, you could have done a lot of things you didn't do.
Yeah, I think that like being more chill, unless the other person is freaking out, I think that if you go like really hard, I think I think it looks a little bad optically.
Yeah, it does.
The what? If I went too hard, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you went way over the top really quickly.
Yeah, you did.
In terms of like,
I thought he went over the top like crazy.
Yeah, see, exactly. I don't know. Is this guy delusional or what? But he seems to think that everything that he was doing, Ethan was doing. And that was like the same argument that he had for fucking stealing content. Was like, you do it too, Ethan. Show some evidence of that. Come on.
Crazy. He kept not letting me talk, asking questions, and then not letting me answer.
No, he didn't. He totally let you answer every single time. He might have cut you off, like, kind of a little bit once in a while, but he wasn't doing it to, like, stop you from making a point. Even if he did cut you off, he still gave you time afterwards to make your point.
He didn't want to bring up data. He bought out one video. He bought my video and watched the whole thing. But when it's time to play my video, he just kept pause, comment. I mean, this is not a fair representation. It's not how he conducted an argument.
He paused your video twice because he didn't understand what the point of the video was because you so heavily edited it. And the first time you paused it, you bitched about him pausing it. And he said, okay, we'll let it play. And the second time he paused it, that was after like a full minute of playing the damn video, which he obviously didn't prove anything with how heavily edited it was.
Sure. I mean, I agree he was cutting you off a lot. That was true. And it was fair for you to bring that up.
That's not true.
Your point. That's true as well. But like when it came to comparing the videos, what do you think his issue was with your video over his video of you?
Oh, because he has the impression that we're editing and we're cutting it, right?
You did.
We're just pausing and it's spliced in.
No, there's a huge difference between just pausing a video like I'm doing now and chopping a video up into small segments to prove a point, if that's even what the video was supposed to be doing.
Kind of. Well, his issue is that like if you're going to evaluate whether a video is like a transformative fair use video, the whole video is pretty important to consider. So his issue is if you're just editing moments of silence in a video, that's not really what he's talking about. It's not necessarily the same thing.
Brief moments of silence, not just moments, brief moments of silence.
Okay.
Like, yeah, the overall video.
So the only reason why we brought these arguments is that I used his argument against him of the 40 seconds. He's just sitting there. 40 seconds. He's just sitting there, right?
You never even showed 40 seconds of him just sitting there. The most you had was 10 seconds.
his videos, he does a lot of sitting there and 40 seconds no talk, right? That I'm flipping back the points on himself, and he had no argument. He had to retreat twice from both arguments. And when I was gonna go to the third one, he said,
when did he
let's
retreat?
change topic. He did that both times. I don't know what I'm supposed to do there. Am I supposed to?
What you're supposed to do if you want him to stay on topic, which he did, you know, and he never really changed topics when you were trying to get him to stay on topic, because you never really forced him to stay on topic if that's what you wanted him to do when he changed topics. You never said to him, no, I want to stay on this topic. Never once.
Reel him back or start crying or do a tantrum? I don't know how to reel him back at that point.
Well, I think the issue isn't sitting there in silence for 12 seconds or 40 seconds. I think the issue is in the totality of the video. How much additional content do you offer? I think that was the argument he was trying to make.
So is that something that in his examples, do you think he did?
In general, yeah. That's like
in general, it seems like, okay, so
keep in mind that Ethan is like one of the only people on the internet that's actually gone to court for fair use and won, right? So if anybody's going to know like what it means to be transformative or what fair is, probably that's like the one area of expertise that I would be really careful just trying to like say he's an idiot on, right?
Fair enough. So then what happened with his wife then?
Well, the difference with his wife is it sounds like there was a mistake that was made, but it sounds like they acknowledged it, they fired the person, and they tried to rectify it going forward, right?
Which they said multiple times.
When there's a big mistake, couldn't I just hire more editors and throw one under the bus and then we make a mistake?
You could, but you don't.
Yeah, but the difference there is one of intention, right? Like they seem like they're trying to do their best to make sure their design's unique, but in your world, you're like, I don't give a f at all what happened anyways. I don't care. It's not, you don't even think you did something wrong. They think something wrong did happen, but it was by way of accident, not by way of intention, I think.
Okay. So the whole point is just the flat out the fact that he says he doesn't do something, right? And then the point is he does bring that I do, right? He also does. If he didn't want me to get him on the 40 seconds and he's...
But you never proved that he does what you do. The point is that you make reaction content that doesn't actually have reaction in it. You steal titles, you steal thumbnails on a daily basis. You never showed that Ethan does that.
Or he's eating. He did all of that.
No, right? But the issue is one of intention. It's like it would be like somebody saying that like you cheated on a test, and then you're like, okay, but don't you lie too? And it's like, well, what do you mean by lying? It's like, well, yesterday you said you'd be home at 5 o'clock, and you didn't go home until like 5:15 because traffic was bad, so you lied. And it's like, that's kind of true, but it's not really the same thing at all. So like his criticism of you is that he's claiming that you steal content and you don't even feel remorse over it. And you go, well, don't you steal as well? Like in the Teddy Fresh design. And they did, but that was an accident. It was an employee. The person was fired, and they think that is wrong. That's why they fired a person to correct it.
What about his 4 videos where he doesn't transform?
You're just going to ignore what he just said to you and make another point? At least acknowledge what he just said to you, dude. Because that was the entire fucking problem with the argument, is that you weren't fucking acknowledging what the difference was between what you do and what Ethan does.
Anything at all.
Which 4 videos?
There's 4. I can link them to you right now if you want. He wouldn't play them. He just said, let's move on. Like I had a lot of stuff to unpack, but he just kept saying, let's move on.
No, he didn't.
I had to jump from one point to the other because
no, he didn't.
If we're not going to sit on a point and actually go through the whole thing, which is
well, you can, if you want, you can shoot me one of the videos and we can look at it. But
well, I have 4 of them.
Shoot me one of them.
Okay.
But I have 4 of them.
Because he, in my opinion,
sorry, a little ad hominem I had to do there for a second.
Genuinely, it felt to me like he knew he was going to lose on a lot of these points. He wanted to move on because I already proved them wrong on 2 of them, and the rest was coming up.
Sure. Look, let me just, I understand.
You never proved them wrong.
You can look back at it later. I promise
here's
you,
one.
At no point in this conversation did Ethan feel like he was going to lose. Did Ethan feel like he was on the back foot, or was Ethan mad? This conversation in his world probably went better than he could have ever expected. I don't think he feels mad. I don't think he felt on the back foot. I don't think that he was going to lose on any of these things. Especially when you bring, there's another thing too, like, I don't know how much you watch of my content now, but like when people bring up like, oh, like, aren't you a cuck? Like, yeah, I've heard this argument like a million times. You're not going to get me on this one, right? That's the same thing as bringing up like the Teddy Fresh. Like, did you guys still design? Like, they've been criticized for this a million times. Unless you've got some novel or new thing, it's unlikely that you're going to like, you know, dent his armor with this attack that they've dealt with a million times in the past, you know?
Okay. So as a point of defense, you're saying that it would be pretty good to have like her 30 employees and say, guys, let's do better, right?
Yeah, it would. It would be good to do that. Why don't you do that? That was one of the points Ethan made. Why don't you do that? Why don't you try harder?
And just keep firing one every time that something goes wrong.
It's not about throwing somebody under the bus every time something goes wrong. It's about setting a standard that's higher than the standard you have.
I had the right intentions. That seems like it would be a pretty good strategy, right?
Well, yeah, but that's not what they're doing, right? If somebody was doing that, that would be fair criticism, but...
1.2 million
Okay, hold on. So this is a 2-minute video, 1 second.
views in 6 hours?
I'm watching this first one, real quick. Give me 1 minute.
Finally over. Logan Paul apologized. Zilla, your slang is, he is a lopsided journalist with an agenda, more like an internet criminal. Oops, wrong video, that was the first response. He actually apologized.
Video he had during the argument? The one that was heavily edited?
This is like that. I mean, hold on. Let me get a taste of this. Even talk about it. He's literally just sitting there quietly for the first 30 seconds. You should sue him. You xQc, you thief bitch.
Turns out it's actually on his secondary channel.
Okay, so the question is, from this original video that you cut this from, how long was the original video and how long was like Ethan's reaction to it?
Okay, so...
And that's not even a good question. The question is, why did you heavily edit it so much? All you did was chop out everything from the video other than the couple of short segments where he's not reacting.
Just told you this, okay?
Yeah.
Rather than Ethan's example where he talked about an 8-minute, 40-second video or 9-minute video where he showed the entirety of all of the comments that you made, which totaled 40 seconds of just single words and definitely not complete sentences.
Even though I would entertain the full-on arguments, I don't have to, since he's the one who sets the parameters for the argument by saying he sits there, dumb f***, he doesn't talk for 40 seconds, bitch ass, and then he says while he's eating or something like that, right? So all I'm using is his own point and flip it on himself.
No, that's what you're trying to do and failing spectacularly at.
I don't have to get the whole thing. I generally don't, right? That's not what he attacked.
His issue attacking you wasn't that you had 40 seconds of silence. It was that you had 40 seconds of commentary to add to an 8-minute video. Those are fundamentally different points.
That is incorrect. Watch
No, that is correct. That is exactly correct.
the video and you're going to see his commentary about my initial react and his criticisms, which I flipped around to him. You are wrong about that, by the way. Just look.
How is he wrong about that? Did you not participate in the own argument that I just watched over the last 2 days?
It's not my effort. No. It's this is like that. I mean, hold on. He didn't talk about it.
Okay, wait. Which part of this video do you want me to watch, or?
You're gonna see in the audio in the back, my editor edited in his criticism on my actual content, which was 3 points. It was the 4 seconds or whatever. So all I did is I just flipped it on him. Just watch the fucking watch
when Ethan said the 40-second thing, right? I think he acknowledged, even in your conversation, that technically it wasn't the 40. His issue was just that he was watching you watch a video. There was 40 seconds of silence. But if that would have been 40 seconds of silence couched in a whole, like, decently critiqued video, he probably wouldn't have brought that same criticism up, right?
Right.
Like if you had like a 10-minute reaction video to like a 3-minute video or something, and during that 3-minute video or your 10-minute repost of it, if there was like 40 seconds of silence, you probably wouldn't have an issue. The issue was that like that seemed to be like in concordance with your entire reaction.
So why not attack that then?
She did. Oh my god. So I guess during this heavily edited video, Ethan complains about a 40 seconds of silence. Is that what he's talking about? Because, I mean, the editing is so fucking fast and choppy. I never caught that.
I think that's what he was attacking, right?
Oh, so it's implied, right? It's like I'm supposed to know that?
Well, I mean, no, I mean, that's like the...
You're supposed to know that because that's what he said while you two were arguing. If you pay attention to what Ethan was saying during the argument, that's what he said multiple times.
That is his argument, right?
Well, then he has to like go on all his old points and reiterate the main point, which I don't think he did a really good job of doing because I didn't even know he was. All he did is run away. I wish he would watch all 4 videos, or at least 2 of them, so we would have had a better idea.
Okay, I can watch the second video you sent me. Hold on. You send me number 4. I'll watch number 3. 1 sec.
Mr. Chu, can you direct your attention to the screen, please?
And this is the other video that Ethan addressed during your argument, where he said he had permission from the person who uploaded the video to do a reaction video on. So if the person gave him permission, it doesn't matter how he does the reaction, whether or not there's silence in it for a particular amount of time or not. And you're also not showing the part where he introduces the video. You're not showing the part where he talks about the video afterwards. I mean, come on.
Hey, got a bag of
So,
great
like,
value
I mean, just right off the bat, what the fuck is this edit?
Put this in my
There's 10
deep
seconds of him
fryer.
sitting there like a
If you know
moron.
what I'm talking
Look at
about.
this idiot.
Oh, yeah. Get that up there. I don't think I can fit any more. I think I can fit a couple more in there. Get up there.
He didn't talk about it. He's literally just sitting there quietly for the first 30 seconds. You should sue him. You xQc, you thief bitch.
Better not leave these in too long.
40 seconds.
Oh, okay. So that's the 40-second thing that he keeps chopping into the video over and over again. I gotcha. He sits there for 40 seconds not commenting. You should sue him. And that's where he got his delusional fucking opinion that that's what the debate was about. Okay.
Yeah, got a couple of them started
Not
to
a single comment or introductory
So, Mr.
statement.
Chu, that video didn't go viral. That was my video. What does it take exactly for someone to get, I don't know, at least 20, 30,000 likes on your platform?
I don't.
My criticism of him right now is that he uploaded this to YouTube. Because I understand the nature of live streaming. You sit there, stuff is going on, like you said.
I don't really understand the question.
Mr. Chu,
To YouTube. Because I understand the nature of live streaming. You sit.
I don't.
My criticism of him right now is that he uploaded this to YouTube.
Okay, Ethan, let me find the search hole. Ethan reacts to Meat Canyon's new video. 14:30.
Yeah. Thank you for showing this part. The video is 14 minutes long. And the cut that you got.
Canyon video. Let's see, we got a new.
Mr. Chu, can you direct your attention to the screen, please? Hey, got a bag of great value tots here. Gonna see if we can't put this in my deep fryer, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Get that up there. I don't think I can fit any more. I think I can fit a couple more in there. Get up there.
Better not leave these in too long. I think I got a couple of them starting to pickle. So, Mr. Chu, that video didn't go viral. That was my video. What does it take exactly for someone to get, I don't know, at least 20, 30,000 likes on your platform?
I don't really understand
Now,
the question.
Mr. Chu, if I can interject, 20,000 likes seems more than reasonable. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Chu? I mean, at least 20.
I don't know.
Mr. Chu,
I think
Mr. Chu, if you could direct your attention back to the screen, please.
Oh, yeah. Looky there. That's a Yukon Gold potato if I've ever seen one. And guess what? I've got 4 of these bad boys heading up to the deep fryer right now. Hey, woo! Supper time! Let's ride! Oh, man. I don't think this one's gonna fit. Oh, no. Wait, there we go. God damn. This mother bird's about to
Yeah, I don't think I'll be a fan of Meat Canyon's videos.
lay herself a couple quail eggs. Woo!
Do you know what she's had to sacrifice to get this video out, Mr. Chu? Between recording the video, editing it,
Ironically, that video would definitely get a lot of views on TikTok. There's no question about it.
giving lobbyists everything they want, raising campaign funds, and sending every one of her constituents straight to voicemail.
I'm not sure I really even understand.
Sacrifices, Mr. Chu. Sacrifices. And a lot of them.
Yeah, I hate to interject for a moment, but Mr. Chu, this here's a Yukon Gold potato, okay? That may not mean very much to you in China, but
Questions, Mr. Chu.
a rust potato.
For a short video, if you don't mind.
What's the,
This really
what are we doing here?
Not the rust, it's in the vagina, but I did not see that clip of her. Yeah, that shit was annoying as fuck, dude. Or kind of on my side on this whole thing, which is that it's so.
All right, so that was less than a 3-minute video.
So I got the link to what that.
The association with my 2021.
Either.
When as was pointed out.
Okay, I mean, I would say that this reaction is pretty shit in terms of like what would qualify for his thing. Is this the one that he said he had explicit permission to
It is the one that he said he had explicit permission to.
react to? That me Kenyon asked him to watch it.
Nah, he doesn't have the actual. Oh, you can do this. He just kind of like, well, he's my friend by whatever. It's just like some assumption bullshit. It's not like he actually cares. Let's be honest.
So is that a yes or a no?
Well, wait, are you sure?
Well, I'm just telling you, like, he didn't have any email or understanding or nothing. I have to assume that he does. So then, I could probably just say that for the same everybody else. We're in an argument. I think it's important to lay out the foundation and have concrete proof for stuff. Otherwise,
It is important to have proof for stuff. Did you bring any?
do I have to accept that it's the truth because he says so? I mean, that's,
Well, if we're
that's
saying
us.
that everybody's lying, it puts us in a weird spot, right? Because I thought I heard Ethan say explicitly that me and Kenyon guy told him to watch it on stream, or that he explicitly got permission for it.
Okay.
But that maybe
I mean, if you're gonna say he's lying, you kind of have to bring proof.
that might be incorrect. Okay, so what is the argument or the point I guess you're making with this?
I'm saying that his main concern when he watched my video and he cooked me on the Hassan podcast is that one, he said 40 seconds no react, 10 seconds no react. Why wouldn't they cut that out? All this is air. Why didn't they cut that out? Every point, I just wish that all I wanted him to do is reel those 3 points back, because he does it a lot, right? And then reiterate the main points of it. Well, it's the whole thing has to be this and that and this. And we get but he, instead of doing that, he just said F it. After 2 points, we're moving on, and then he just ran away, and then we had to go to the next point.
Okay, so here's what I'm gathering. You saw Ethan put up a video where he complained about you not talking for 40 seconds and saying you should get sued for not having good React content. And you assumed that that's exactly what the point was he was going to make during the argument. So you literally ignored what he actually said during the argument, which was your React content is not really React content because you're not reacting. Here's a video of me making that point, showing you giving 40 seconds of quote unquote commentary for a 9-minute video. And you ignored that and twisted it in your brain for some reason, completely just that never processed. And you had this opinion that you were still arguing about what you assumed the argument was about to begin with. And you didn't even, I mean, during the argument, if you wanted that to be the point of the argument, then you needed to force that to be the point of the argument, which you didn't do. And you also didn't stop him from making a different point from the video where you get this opinion that the whole argument was about a 40-second part of silence. And then you have your editors chop up this fucking segment of video showing Ethan having a segment of time equal to 40 seconds or, 10 seconds in your first actual example. And then you think that that's going to win you the argument. Okay, so I think maybe that's what happened. Or at least that's the only way I can justify him thinking or believing the shit that he's saying during this portion of you talking to Destiny. I mean, is that what happened, xQc? Let me know down in the comments below.
Which I think at this point, I would have been good to elaborate, because we could have went in a long direction with that, but he just escaped it.
Do you think that when he was being critical of you for this 40-second thing, what do you think his issue was?
He took it literally, extremely literally, to mean exactly that there should be no point in time during a reaction video where there's 40 seconds of silence. That's what he believes the problem is. Even after that entire argument where Ethan repeatedly told him that he has a different problem.
Do you think it was just like 40 seconds of silence? Was that his issue, or?
That's
what he believes. Yeah. That's what he believes.
Do you think it was because there was 40 seconds of silence? Do you think that was his issue?
Well, yeah, otherwise he wouldn't have brought it up, right?
I think I think the issue wasn't that there were like 40 seconds of silence.
That's because you paid attention during the argument, whereas xQc did not.
I think the issue was that in the totality of the video that you reviewed, that you're adding very little new stuff around the video. I think that was his, broadly speaking, I think that was his argument.
And you understand. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, xQc. You don't understand how an argument works. You can't make an assumption about what's going to be in the argument and build your entire case around it and then just insist that that's what the argument's about, even though in many times, Ethan made it clear that the issue he had wasn't just 40 seconds of silence. It was the totality of your reaction videos being devoid of reaction.
So my point of view on this, I guess how I view the world, right, is that if you say, let's say, fuck gambling, fuck sponsor gamblers or whatever, right? Well, you as a creator, if you're gonna take the high road, you have to be pretty tight about never gambling, shit like that, right?
Yeah, you said that shit during the argument.
Because it makes you look like a hypocrite. right? You would agree with me on that?
I guess, but whether or not he's a hypocrite isn't really relevant to the conversation, right?
Also
Well,
true.
when you're using your platform on Twitter and everyone to shit on me, right, for having the high road, and you don't have the high road, I think it's a very important point to go on. I think
Not really.
Makes you look disingenuous. It makes you look like you're just doing stuff.
That may be true, but it's not a massive point to the argument.
He could just say like, oh, maybe there are places in the past where we've made a mistake too. The issue right now we're talking about isn't the behavior that somebody commits, it's the behavior they defend, right?
I think both are valid.
Maybe.
To an extent.
So should I go on the internet and just say, well,
one of those is much more important than the other. The position you defend is much more critical than the behavior you can look up in the past. The position you're defending now, during an argument. I'm not saying that someone's history doesn't matter. But during an argument, the position you're defending is more important than your past.
Well, Destiny, I don't like his stream because he always pulls his out, right? And then whenever I go into debate, I say, well, I said that because, I mean, you talk about sex, so it's kind of like the same thing. I think it's kind of disingenuous, like, it's just kind of stupid because you're just saying something that's flat out wrong.
It'd be like two people debating drug use, and one guy used to be an addict for like alcoholism or whatever, and then the guy,
keyword being used to be,
guys saying like, listen, I don't think we should drink, I don't think it's good, we should like discourage kids from drinking alcohol. And then you're like, well, didn't you used to be an alcoholic? The guy would be like, yeah, but I shouldn't have been, it was bad, right? Like I think Ethan said like,
but
yeah, they've ripped off.
Didn't say that.
Didn't he say that if they have
what do you mean you didn't say that? God damn xQc. Did you not pay attention to anything Ethan said?
ripped somebody off, that's a bad thing and he wouldn't want to do that, and he said that was a mistake?
But okay, so I think the fair point would that he showed any sort of actual, it's easy to say, I regret this lol, right? I think a big point.
He didn't say, I regret this lol. He pointed out to you that there people that worked for them, or at least one person that worked for them, stole content. They found out about it. They got rid of or addressed that issue with that person, and they haven't had the issue since. If I can remember this, how can you not remember this? And this was, for you, less than an hour ago. For me, it was 2-3 days ago when I watched Ethan say this.
Would be to show that you care enough, because you're not a thief, right? To try to make up for it. Maybe de-damage them, compensate, have a conversation with them, but he doesn't actually care. He just pretends to care, because it's the card to put on Twitter.
If he was just pretending to care, he would have just said that he did something to address the issue, and it would have continued to happen. Like he claims you do. You just say that you're going to address the issue. Well, you did in the second half of the argument, or last portion of the argument anyway, and you continue to have the same behavior. The difference is he said he addressed the issue, and they haven't had any further complaints. Whereas he gave examples of you having recent complaints.
He just pretends to care, right? That's what I'm getting at, is that he just pretends. If he actually did care, he would do some maneuvers to repair the damage, but he hasn't. So if you're going to be a thief and do the same behavior, and you say, well, that was a mistake, and never go back and fix it, never go back and help it out, well, it seems like you don't actually care about...
Okay, but you don't care. Are you just projecting the negative view of yourself onto Ethan? Is that what's happening here?
Whether somebody lost something or not, you just get back looking a certain way, right?
Yeah, again, I think the big issue is that, like, you're assuming that he is, just because he's done a behavior doesn't mean he's defending the behavior. And because you're defending the behavior, he's going to come at you way harder for it, right?
Okay.
Like, imagine somebody cheated in a relationship and you have a debate about cheating, and some guy's like, I don't think you should cheat on your significant other, that's bad. And the guy's like, well, you cheated. The guy would say, like, yeah, I have, and it's bad, I shouldn't have done that, it was a mistake.
Okay.
But your position is like, well, I'm defending cheating.
Yes.
That doesn't make those two people the same.
Yes,
right?
definitely. Yeah. I agree with you. Does that mean, you think, that if he actually...
Do you agree with him?
Is better than that, and he's on the high road, do you think that it would be important to at least say sorry that he cheated? Do you think that's important for you?
He did.
Didn't he say that? Didn't he say, yeah, if I did that, that's a mistake?
Huh?
Didn't he say literally that if he did that in the past, it was a mistake and they regret it? That he's sad that he did that if they did that? I thought he literally said, he admitted that, like, if they did that, that was bad.
Yes, he did.
So what we're saying is that if somebody cheats, he shouldn't actually talk to the person he cheated on, and he should just make a tweet and say, guys, you know what, guys? Yeah, I did that. Fuck, man. Maybe I should have done that, whatever, right? In the way he did, and just
talk about moving the goalpost. Fuck.
Just leave the person behind and just say, fuck it.
Well, yeah, but the issue is that, like, he said that he probably has, but he doesn't know of a particular instance, and I don't think you brought him a particular instance.
So you didn't check it. So you're throwing a grenade and say, well, maybe somebody died. I'm not gonna check, but guys, I mean, I'm not gonna throw grenades anymore. Did somebody die? Maybe, I don't know. I think it's kind of, bro. Come on, you know this is very
it's not more like throwing a grenade. It's more like he littered once, and then you were like, well, haven't you littered in the past? And you're like, yeah, I guess. And you're like, well, did you pick up the trash? And he's like, I don't remember. It's like, oh, so you must not care about littering. And it's like, if you could throw him a piece of trash he threw on the floor, he'd probably go back and pick it up. But I mean, like, if you had like a particular instance of him violating somebody else's copyright in a really egregious manner, then you could probably get, I'm sure he'd probably just say like, oh yeah, we shouldn't have done that. That was bad. That'd be my guess.
There was 4, and he didn't want to approach any of them.
What for? It's not Ethan's job to show you the evidence you want shown. If you want evidence shown, you have to show it. You didn't.
I don't line up.
I think the 4 that you presented, though,
the one you presented doesn't show what you're saying it shows.
Doesn't really mean, like, having like 40 seconds of silence was never really his initial claim. That was never really.
Then don't say it. Is that hard to do that?
Well, I think he literally told you, he's like, I shouldn't have said that. That was bad.
Yeah, but after that, I wanted him to reel back on the points that he did that I think were wrong, right? That was one, and there's multiple other ones, right? And I was trying to get it, but he didn't want to reel back. So why does he get to say dumb?
Reel back what specifically?
Shit on the internet for clicking points on Twitter, and when he gets called out, he gets to just run away and say, whatever, bro.
Well, he's not. I don't think he's running away. He's apologizing. He's saying I shouldn't have done that. That was wrong. Right?
Wait, there was more though.
No, there wasn't.
What do you mean?
Well, there's more points I was going to approach that thing that he said I want to reel back on because they're wrong. Like if somebody
and like I said at the end of the previous video, if you wanted to bring up more points instead of just letting him in the conversation, you should have pointed that out clearly and made it obvious that you had more points you wanted to show, but you didn't do that.
gambles, drinks, and smokes, and I say, hey man, like, I think the issue of smoking is pretty bad. It says, yeah, you're right, I should have smoked. Let's move on. It's like, yeah, but what about the drink? No, let's move on. That shows that you just don't give a fuck. I think you can understand that, right? There are multiple points.
But I think he does care. I think if somebody were to show him, like, unless you think he's just lying about everything. Is that what you think? Do you think he's just being totally disingenuous? He doesn't actually care about any of the copyright stuff at all?
Yeah, 100%.
But isn't he like one of the few people that, like, because he's a YouTuber, wouldn't he actually really care about this? Isn't he like really incentivized to care about this?
At least it seems to me like Ethan actually cares about it, but xQc doesn't.
As much as anybody else?
Well, not as much as anybody else. He literally, this is like part of his job. Like, I feel like YouTubers would care about this more than anybody else. Like, actually,
yeah.
Like, this would be stuff that would actually trigger the out of them, no?
Basically.
Yeah, but as in what?
As in, like, seeing streamers, like, doing what they perceive to be stealing content.
Okay. He didn't display to me that he actually cares. I think
because he hasn't gone back through every single video he's done to try to find if he's copyright infringed on somebody?
all he had to do is get one.
No, he doesn't have to get any. You have to get one. If that's a point you're trying to make, if you're trying to say Ethan does something, you have to prove it.
Right. No, but he would have to search through how many hours of content to find it. And then, like, let's say, like, here's something I'm very confident of. If you were to find him an example, he'd probably say, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And if you're like, we should apologize to that creator, he probably would. And if that creator's like, I feel like you've harmed me, like, give me like $50 or $100.
No, okay, I get it. So you're saying that because of what I'm saying, right, that I don't do better. When it's crazy that out of any examples you could take on YouTube that re-uploads React, even Hassan, I quadruple the understanding and the relation that I build with the creators that he does.
What the hell does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with you not taking content without permission, re-uploading it with just a couple of seconds of you saying a word or two here and there, and saying it's a reaction video? What does it have to be?
Because we go above and beyond to do good. Literally.
No, you don't.
And if somebody wants
no, you don't.
out,
and if you do, Prove it.
Doesn't want it, wants the money out of it, we're like one DM away, right? That's it. It's that simple. We try. He says, well, that's for money.
Yeah, but, okay, but here's the issue: is that like, if you would have just laid on that point, you probably would have been fine. Like just like, oh well, if any content creator feels like they've been hurt, like, but it feels like
Well, you avoided it.
Well, but then bring it back to it. Don't let him run the debate, because if
how do you avoid it? You had multiple opportunities to address that point, if that's the point you wanted to make, and you said it one time. Where the other times you said, I don't care if it's illegal. You said, I don't care if content creators tell me they don't want me to do it. I mean, why would you say those things if they're not true?
it feels like you were making the argument that like they shouldn't even care. There is no harm, and that that's fake.
And that's another one argument that you brought up. They shouldn't care because we're helping them with views. That's another claim that you made.
Oh no, I don't think you are watching. Then I made a big point of it. He just I mean, why is it my job that to keep reeling back? I mean, he just keeps running. It's boring.
That's your job in a debate.
Like,
it's just how it works.
Explicitly, that I would 10x. If there's a small creator that's actually struggling, because he says that a small creator is 400k subscribers. I don't even know what the fuck that's about. Actual like small creators that have a good video that does good, and they're not very skilled at what they do on YouTube, but they get like a really good viral video, and if they wanted to like do anything at all whatsoever, we would go back and help them out in any way, because it's something that I enjoy doing, and I like that they gain from, right? And it can be mutually beneficial. If they don't think it is, we will repair anything we can, and I think that's fair enough. We've always done that. We have had multiple creators in the past, and actually it's not a lot, it's like 2, that they want their videos up, and we're like, yeah, listen, we took them down, we're not gonna do more. If there's something we could do, we will do. And they said, nah, we're good, you don't have to do anything, but just don't put, and we stopped posting it. And I think that's as good as it.
So you've addressed the issue twice in the past, is what you're saying. Even though you daily upload other people's shit. And how many times have you? Twice in the past. Twice in the past you've which also you didn't bring proof of that. You're just making that claim.
It gets when it comes down to consent to post videos. I think the status quo is that you can people, it's generally an accepted thing to react in general because of the amount of reaction that's done, amount of complaints. I think, do we agree with that? It's a kind of a status
quo. I have no idea what the hell you just said.
Well, they're like, yeah, react is probably good if you do it properly, right?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so then if it's that status quo, and then that whenever there is a problem, we try our best to work with them, and me above everybody else, I think I do a pretty fucking good job with my editors of doing that. I'm the worst guy to go at it, to go about this, because his other podcast guy, Hassan, he doesn't do as much as we do. He does not. He really does not. So why do I care so much, and I do all that, and he just discredits the whole thing by just going to the next point? I think that sucks.
Yeah, right? I guess, yeah, maybe, like, I don't disagree now with what you're saying. I'm just saying it didn't feel like this was the focus of the debate. It feels like the focus of the debate was you saying you were doing nothing wrong on them and you didn't care.
True.
Like, rather than like, well, here are ways that we could make creators whole if they feel like they were slighted. Like, it feels like if you would have focused on this, it would have gone a lot different. Yeah. I think Ethan was like very much trying to keep it going one way.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I said I didn't care because if I have proof that I actually care and I do better when I do care, right? I just wanted to anger him, to be honest. I think it's okay to just.
So you said you don't care because you wanted to anger Ethan? What the? You don't understand how shitty that makes you look?
Say, oh yeah, I don't care. And if he tries to get at me at it, well, here's why I care, and I'm better than anybody else. That's like, and then he just moves on. It seems like he just got baited.
No, it doesn't seem like he got baited.
In terms of actual behaviors of care, I show that I care more than he does.
Do you really? Okay, I'm super curious just on this. Do you really feel like he feels like he got molded in that debate, or that he was upset in that debate?
I mean, he looked pretty upset to me, to be honest.
What behaviors did he exhibit that made you feel like he was upset?
That's a great question.
Getting heated, quite literally, cutting me off.
Not really.
Yelling.
No, not really.
And he was burying me in
Not
voice
really,
and everything.
no.
At one point, I just couldn't say anything for like. He asked 3 questions in 10 seconds, and every time I opened my mouth and said something, he just overrode me. So how can I make a fair point if he's just doing that? It's a child. He makes me look pretty good.
All of that sounds like bullshit to me.
He's tweaking the fuck out.
Okay.
Yeah,
In his major points, I sit quietly and I waited for him to finish his point because I knew I had an argument and I was just waiting, right? I think it's the best you could do. If you have an argument and that's chambered into your gun, you just chill and you just
did
wait,
not chill.
right? It seemed like he made an argument, and when I was about to make a counter argument, he just threw barrages of dog shit. That is not at least how you begin an argument. I think it's just like in philosophy, when you start arguing points, right? Make the big ones, then the supporting one, the small ones. Big one, bing, 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 right? So he would do a big one, I would do my big counterpoints, right? But instead he would do his big arguments, I would have said my big counter argument, and he just spams dog shit, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, we can sit here and do ad hominem and just yell and do dog shit if you want to, because I'm really good at that. But we can have a little conversation.
Quite a few
and he gave up on the little conversation. I just played his game. I think that's fair enough. That's not up to me.
Okay.
Right, whatever. Sure.
Well, damn. I don't know. Is there anything else that you want to go over or question about it?
No.
No, he just wants you to say he did his good job. He was a good argument boy. That's what he wants from you. He did as good as he possibly could have done. That's what he wants to hear.
If you gave me some pointers about like actual pointers on how to reel somebody back like that and how to de-escalate when somebody having that behavior, I mean, I need more.
How to de-escalate? You're the one escalating it.
More happy to listen to because
No, step 1 on de-escalation. Don't escalate the situation.
I don't want to do that. I was very calm at the beginning, and I really, really wanted to continue in that direction, but it seemed like he just didn't want to.
Well, because he's got an outline for the path that he wants to take for the debate, right?
Well, I mean, his outline is like, oh, we have a field. Well, we have to. We're only going to use the top left quadrant. We're only going to use row 6. Column 4, we're gonna use this crop, this part. It's like, dude, at that point, like, if you just want to talk about like one video, we could do that if you want to, but I thought we were talking about React.
I have no idea what the hell he's even talking about. Do you? Let me know down in the comments.
That's it. And React overall, but no, it's only React on YouTube. If permission, if transported, like, dude, like, just talk about React. It's what we're here for. But you just get running away and moving the goalposts. I don't think that's very productive.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
Okay, so moving the goalpost, I don't get this moving the goalpost shit. If you think his argument is about one thing before the argument starts, and then when the argument starts, he says his issue is this other thing, that doesn't mean he moved the goalpost. That means that you were misinterpreting what the argument was going to be about.
Yeah, this is like the general piece of advice that I would give. This is what I would say for future debates. This is super try hard, but like, I think it would do you really well to draft an outline and then try to stick to the outline when you're making a conversation, because he's got an outline and he's controlling the flow of the conversation exactly.
It would also help if you didn't assume that the entirety of the problem was 1 40-second clip of you not speaking.
Where he wants it to go. I think that it would probably help you to do that.
Because, I mean, really? Is somebody going to make a big deal out of that? Because that would be a stupid thing to make a big deal out of. So obviously there are issues with more than just 40 seconds of not talking during a fucking React video.
Future. And then that way, if you feel like he's pivoting or if he's moving on to points that you don't want to talk about, you have like an easy way to like control the flow of the conversation. I think that'd probably be the most helpful.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Or even like some kind of third-party moderator to like kind of appeal to like, hey,
that would help.
This guy slow down. Yeah.
Yeah, that would help, because I felt like since I'm a host on his show, right? When he wanted to move along and move with the topics, I just went along because, I mean, even though this is my show and I'm sitting at the computer, right? I do this all day, like you do, right? But for him, that's like his producer, so I just kind of like went along with the pace, right? Anything that's as best as you could do as a guest, right? To just kind of go along with it and whatever. I feel like it would take a lot of hours if we just stuck to one point. But I thought he was moving the needle, right? So it's kind of hard to like. I want to be like patronizing and just go back to one, and it's like I don't know.
It's okay to do that.
I feel like I didn't have any control.
As long as you're gentle with the conversation, like as long as you're not like screaming at him, like as long as you're being chill, you're like, hey, can we move back here? Hey, I want to answer this. Hey, can we address this? Like as long as you're moving in that direction, I think people will generally be like pretty chill in the conversation. But the problem is if you start getting like really snarky or rude or upset, then people are going to be not as warm to you wanting to move the conversation.
Well, the reason why it was difficult a lot of times is he started like imitating me, right?
He did that
and, like,
one time. One time he's like, okay. I remember the exact time it happened, what he did and what he said. He imitated you one time by saying, okay. One time.
Like, he was doing little stuff like that you've seen a child, like imitating my behavior.
Speaking of imitating his behavior, did you not call him out for? I mean, did you not directly attack his mannerisms? I remember you doing that too.
No, at one point I said, "Okay." He said, "Okay, okay."
Well, that was,
okay,
but that was
okay.
really deep into it after
that?
you'd already been like really rude to him. I think by that point, like you'd already been like an asshole to him like the entire time.
At least multiple times.
Being nonchalant, you're gonna throw the whole thing away pretty much.
I don't think you were being nonchalant.
No,
you were being
weren't.
aggressive and attacking him the entire time.
Well, I mean, he did add on him and insulted me quite literally on multiple occasions before I even.
No, that's what you did.
This is what I would say. If you want, go back.
I did a 2-strike system on insults. 2 strikes.
No. If you want, I would say go back and watch. You got really heated and really snarky really quick before he ever did anything to you at all. I think that was like the big issue for why he probably became so snarky.
Which he didn't really get so snarky. He did it once.
But you can also go back and rewatch it if you feel like that assessment.
Very briefly.
Because when I was watching it, that was the thing that stuck out to me. I was like, oof, it feels like xQc is getting like really mean here for no reason. It felt like we got, but that was just the feeling I had.
Was that the sound of xQc acknowledging he did something wrong? Or just frustration that he can't prove that he didn't?
I don't know. I feel like he was debating already. Like, I'll go back and look at the VOD. I felt like I did a decent job.
No, that was not the sound of him realizing that he fucked up. Oh well.
As the first 10 minutes to really just kind of let him put on at least the first carpet down so we could stand on it. But it seemed like as soon as he started, and then I would make a counterpoint, and he just kept cutting me. He just kept cutting me off on my first.
No, he didn't.
My first counter argument. He just kept cutting me off. The first one.
Didn't. When you say someone keeps cutting you off, that means every time you try to make the point that cut you off. He might have cut you off a couple of times, but he gave you plenty of time to make your points. Like, plenty.
Can we at least get one argument in? Like, that was just weird. Like, I can do anything.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's gonna try to control the he's gonna try to control the core of the flow of the conversation. Like that's a big thing that he's gonna be doing, right?
I guess so.
But that's why having an outline would probably help, because it would help you kind of like keep things on track a little bit more too.
I thought it would be his job as the host of the fucking convo, and then as him.
It
as
is his job, but
like,
he's gonna do it to his benefit, right? Not to yours. He's not there. He's not doing PR for you. He's there to make.
But they're gonna do no outline, and then when we get somewhere, we're just gonna run away and end the podcast. Like I don't know. It doesn't seem very productive as a host.
What do you want Ethan to just sit there and let you say whatever you want to say the entire time and never bring up a point to support what he's saying?
An organizer of the format, to be honest, kind of feels like he wasn't really there for a resolution or like an actual conversation. He was there to guide the ship, and then as soon as things got heated, it just fucking bounce out.
I don't know what the fuck he's thinking.
He did not let me actually go through a.
I mean, I can hear him describe what he's thinking, but I don't know how he could possibly think that.
Full counter argument. He just would not let me. At least initially, before things I I just couldn't get an actual sentence in it. Not even once. It was insane.
Maybe it's because you don't know how to form sentences. It's not because Ethan wouldn't let you.
I had to literally stop and fucking belittle him because it was like, dude, like, please stop. Like, this is weird.
Yeah, he definitely, he's very aggressive in trying to keep you on point. But again, that's his prerogative. That's what he wants to do. He wants to go down certain argumentative paths and have you down there. But
he didn't even do that. He wasn't aggressive about staying on a point. He was fairly telling him to address a point that he made a couple of times. He wasn't aggressive with it.
That's like I mean, I would expect him to do that, right? That's his goal, right? He's having an argument with you that he wants to come out winning on. But then it's your goal, or it's your prerogative to keep him on track then, right?
Okay, sure. I didn't know how it worked.
Like sometimes in a debate with me, like one of the strategies I use, depending on the thing, I'll literally say, hey, here's a question. And if the person starts rambling, I'll cut them off. So I was like, hey, listen, you can do this, but I'm going to ask the same question as soon as you're finished. And that'll happen. They'll finish. I was like, okay, that's great that you just said that, but back to my question. I need you to answer this. Like, you can do that over and over again. And as long as you remain calm and cordial, like, you'll generally look good doing it. So.
Okay.
Too true.
Yeah, I didn't know how the arguments just went like that. It seems.
That is quite apparent.
It seems like almost out of bad faith. It seems like it just doesn't really make any sense, but I don't know.
Well, what's bad faith about it? For the other person trying to control the conversation.
Well, the narrative. It seemed like when the narrative flipped, he would just run away. It seemed like he just.
When did the narrative flip? I never saw that.
He didn't want something that changed the narrative.
I guess.
It's not
this is what you need.
Flow with the narrative.
This is what you need to understand for narrative control you're talking about, right? Is the onus then is on you to ask a clear question and try to force a clear answer.
Like, clear question. Thank you for saying clear question. In other words, state it to where people can actually hear what the fuck you're asking.
Like that's all you can do. Yeah.
Wait. Still one on?
What your goal should be when you're talking to somebody is you need to force them to give a clear answer or force a concession or whatever. And that's all you could really do if you feel like they're trying to flip it or whatever. But if otherwise they're just going to lead you around in the conversation the way that they want, and there's nothing you can really do about it.
All right.
But again, like, yeah, I think having an outline to stick to.
I'll do that next time. Okay, that is a good point. I will press really hard and just reel back to back of it until we actually get there. That's what I tried to do initially with the 40 seconds thing, and
no,
the whole just one other thing. But I don't know. Like, I'm not used to getting that much.
You didn't do that with the 40-second thing, because as soon as you said anything about the 40-second thing, Ethan's like, okay, that was a bad point. Here's my actual point. He did that multiple times. He told you what his actual point was, which was, and the example that he gave the very first time, you only giving 40 seconds of words, not even real commentary, on a 9-minute video. That was what the argument was about. And you're still saying, oh, it was about 40 seconds of silence. Still saying that. How many fucking times does somebody have to tell you that that's not what the issue is before you actually hear them say that's not what the issue is?
Pushback. I thought at least she would have had like an actual good point that kind of like caught me off guard. Like I was expecting some pushback, like legitimate one, and I felt like I wasn't given legitimate pushback on any points. It's like we're just navigating and just running away, and then just, I don't know. You're right though. I should have reeled him back more often.
Yeah.
What was he running away from? What did he run away
as
from?
lame as it sounds, like debating other people would probably help too, because Ethan is quite literally a professional. They have a whole show, like they're doing everything, so it's probably hard to like start with him, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Here's the point.
I don't think Ethan is a professional debater by any means. He just knows how to, make a point. And ask for someone to give an answer until he gets an answer. That's not professional debate.
Like, he didn't even let me explain what something good to happen meant when I meant reacting to something, right? Mm-hmm. I think in the past we've had a lot of times where I'll react to something, and chat will deny this a lot, okay? And there's some stats behind it. I could have gotten to that. Where something good happens, I watch a video, I have fun. That's a good thing. Chat has fun. Cool. The creator gets views, pog. The thing goes viral, insane, right? And then he gets money, and I guess I keep my own share of the fucking rev or something like that, right? And that's kind of cool, right? Because that's good. That's what I meant by that. To make something good is for people that enjoy more content.
Yeah, that's cool.
Across the board.
That is cool. But one, it doesn't address the issue Ethan brought up. And two, what does that have to do with the argument? Well, I guess those are both the same thing. And
when people don't want me to react to shit, I don't do it. Right?
Yeah, I understand the arguments being now. This isn't about your arguments. It's about the arguments being made, right? I understand what your argument is here now. But I had to step away for a few minutes in the middle of that. Did you make this argument?
No, we didn't. No.
Well, he didn't let me. I was about to elaborate on that.
Yeah,
he didn't let you make that point. Again, maybe if you had that time where you were doing the worm, you could have made that point at the same amount of time.
Then I don't know why you're telling me this, right? I understand what you're saying, but like, if it didn't get brought up during the argument, then it doesn't matter now, right?
Well, it's very difficult. When he went on, he got really mad at
like
that.
A child to me. Like a little kid, where you ask them why they did something, they say, "'Cause it's hard," or because they don't really have a reason. It's because it's hard.
Evil guy was just all the money. When I have no idea what the YouTube rev goes. I just have, bro, the whole YouTube xQc clips goes hundreds of my editor. I don't know what any of that money goes. I know the main channel goes like it, and I don't know how much to pay because I don't give a. And the channel goes for growth and whatever. And it's like, it's not about the actual money of it. I don't know why I like.
Sure, but did you tell him that? I don't because for them they're just gonna see money, right? And I think that's a fair point. It's just assume that like streamers are in it for money, right?
That's if you see the world like that, I think things get kind of sad a little bit.
That's easy for you to.
I would say, I agree. Things are kind of sad. Somebody who doesn't have any money, speaking from personal experience, yes, things are kind of sad.
Because you're a multi-millionaire, but for a lot of people, yeah, the money that they make from their work is a really important part of their world. I think that's a fair thing for them to feel.
Yes, and it's why it's intended that the thing will be positive, and if it's not, that
Here, xQc, do this for me. Promote my channel.
I'm a real back on it, and if there's a damage that is caused, they get everything.
And by promote my channel, I don't mean just do non-reactionary reaction videos to my stuff. I mean promote my channel.
That it would have gotten, so that's a good thing. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it.
Sure.
I think everybody understands that. I think that's fair enough.
Sure. And I understand the argument you're making to me now, but this would be an argument you would make to him, right?
Well, I did. I don't think he gave a f.
You don't think he gave a f?
No.
Does he have to?
Well, he generally didn't.
And whether or not, and whether or not Ethan does give up, does that really change whether or not it's a good point?
It was all about revenue. I would just pay the editors a flat fee, and I would probably make like 1.5, 3 mil more a year on just flat out rev or some shit. Like I would make a ass ton if I care about rev. The whole point is that the YouTubers do good. And the whole point is that it makes something nice, like for everybody, for the people that watch the cut downs and shit like that. And for him, it's like this big evil like Robin Hood. You're stealing. It's like, dude, it's not like that. If it was like that, people would have reached out. I have like 6,000 hours of React, and we have like 2 negative emails.
Okay, but you didn't bring this point up during the discussion or argument or debate, whatever you want to call it. It was an argument. When Ethan points out to you that someone complained, your response was, I don't care. That was the problem. You had time and you could have brought up this point during the debate, but you didn't.
Like, where's the data, bro? I don't see. The only person he had to prove the opposite was a guy that he DM'd out of his own will. No.
It was the one person he contacted. That's all he had to do was contact one person, and that one person had a complaint. And you're portraying it as he was only able to find one person.
Which could have been a fucking paid actor for all I care.
Yeah, I don't know why would you accuse him of being a paid actor? We have no evidence of that at all, right?
Well, I don't have any evidence that he's not. So I mean,
you don't have evidence that he's not.
Sure. What?
God. I don't know why I would assume like
that's not how things work, dude. if you want to say someone's a paid actor, you need proof. You don't just assume they are unless you have proof to the contrary.
Like, the guy's messages sounded like reasonable. Like, okay, I can imagine a real life person saying this. Like, I don't know why we would assume he's like a paid actor.
And if you wanted to make a really good argument and slam it to the ground, right? You could orchestrate that, right? I'm not saying it's a conspiracy theory, right? But if you, what do you really do that? I sent one DM and the one guy answered, and his whole thing was crazy and was very much against you, and it all lines up. Come on, you know.
I mean, to me, that sounds like everybody has a problem with you doing it. If he only had to contact one person to find a complainer. I mean, if the very first person and the only person that, if you only reach out to one person and that very first person has a complaint, that's kind of an issue. I mean, yeah, maybe he should have reached out to more than just one person for, if you wanted to make it a real concrete point. But considering he only had to reach out to one person to get a complaint, that's kind of a problem.
You don't believe that.
Sure, but then like the onus then would be on you to do the opposite. Well, I reached out to a couple people and this is what they said about the React content.
What? But I did. He didn't let me. I said I have stats prepared. And he said,
"What do you mean he didn't let you? Did you do that? Did you do that? If you did, you should have brought those fucking points."
He just moved on.
But you didn't.
But then make him go back.
He ended the call.
Well, he ended the call at the end because it seemed like the call was over. But I'm saying earlier, like he could have.
No, I had stats. I told him I had stats.
You had
like,
time
can
to
we go over
present
this
that
one
shit,
thing?
and you were doing the
I
work.
did.
I
said,
don't. No, you
chat.
didn't. Stop. You did not. You were just insulting him and fighting with him over.
All right, finally, after what, 45 minutes, you finally fucking talk to xQc like he's just full of shit. Finally, I've seen you flip out on people for one sentence before, Destiny. What the fuck?
Over and over again, you did the worm. Instead of doing the worm, you could have said like, "Hey, let's go over these stats." Ethan, can we just look at this? Ethan, I think this counts your argument, but that wasn't what happened. You guys started flinging, and then you started like memeing on him, and that was it. What do you mean?
Okay, no, okay. I did do the worm. That was kind of pog. I did say, open up the chat. I'm gonna dump some logs in there, and he just went off.
And you said it so damn fast. If you had said it at that pace, he might have actually heard you. But when you did say that, you said it so damn fast, and he was talking when you said it. He didn't hear you.
I don't remember that part. Maybe I just missed it. You just went off.
Yeah, because it was easy to miss.
I did. Go back to the pod. I said, open up the chat. I have stats. I'm gonna dump it.
He did say those words. But when he said it during the argument, it took about as much time as him saying one of those words just now.
Okay. I don't remember this part, but maybe. I feel like if you would have been less combative and more chill, I feel like you could have just like, we can rewatch the whole debate if you want. If you want to go over it again.
I'm not rewatching that.
Okay.
But listen.
I mean, you really should
absolutely
to see how fucking delusional you've been with this discussion with Destiny.
100% said it. Open the chat. I even remember I used to move my mouse on the right side of the screen so I could get the icon for chat so I could dump the log, and I opened my second monitor and I even had the logs open because I was gonna go dump it.
He didn't
want
stop
to.
You. Other than ending the call.
He just molded like.
So someone in my chat, and I could be wrong.
Excuse me. And again, you're like, he's molding, bald. Oh, he's bald. No, he's not. My hairline is much higher than Ethan Klein's. He's not balding.
They said, xQc didn't. He said, your ass is going to get cooked when I dump these logs and stats, and then he didn't do anything.
Well, I was doing like a monitor until he went off the rails. So you understand now that I presented something. If you didn't think the data was, if you thought the data could have been valid, it would have been a very good point to have it on the podcast, right?
Yeah.
No.
It seems like he was brought.
No. You wanted to present something, and you put zero effort into presenting it.
Up a
That's what
point
happened.
that could be helpful to the whole thing, and he completely dodged it. You're being given a
He didn't dodge shit. He didn't even hear you when you said it.
solution to a problem that you keep bringing up, and then you move on. It seems like it could be in both parties' interest to say, okay, let's see it.
Yeah, maybe, but then again, the onus is on you to just like keep on track, right?
Thank you.
Oh man, then debating is for fucking cucks. Then this is actual cuck livelihood, actually. So,
oh, I can't prove that I'm the best and that I wasn't given the opportunity, so that's for losers.
So I mean, it's all part of the, it's all like keeping people on point is one of the hardest things to do in a conversation. Again, because remember, Ethan has an outline drawn up in front of him with every single thing he wants to say. So of course, you know, he's going to keep the conversation going. If you don't hold him to certain points, he's just going to move on to the points that he wants to make, right? That's his whole...
I mean, it's not really as hard as you're making it out to be. All you have to do is clearly state what you want, or clearly state a question, and ignore anything else that's said until you get that statement addressed or question answered. Just completely ignore everything else until you get that question or statement addressed. That's all you have to do. It's not hard.
Yeah, it just sucks that, like, I did have stuff to show, and I did mention it, and he just wouldn't give it some light. I think it'd be very helpful, since he only had one graph that shows a declining video being watched that keeps declining, but at a less heavy rate. That seems like a W to me, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's the best argument you had, and you didn't even make that argument, because when that was brought up, when you had the opportunity to say what you just said, you said, oh, you don't have a time machine, you can't prove the video would have done better or worse. That's what you said.
I've seen the curves. That curve looked pretty healthy for a video uploaded a couple days ago. He just... Well, dude, it's like he doesn't even know his own stats. The guy has no fucking data analysis knowledge, like actually zero. I did stat.
Okay.
I absolutely hate people that act like because they took a class on something, it makes them a fucking expert. Anybody can take a class. How well did you do in the class?
I mean, that would have been an argument you make to him, but I don't know what, yeah. I mean, I can't do anything with it now, but, you know. Draw an outline next time. That's our number one.
Yes, I did. I did, quantitative methods in fucking, and shit up, whatever. Quantitative methods, it's a class. Method consistency or something like that, okay? And we learn about stats and surveys and biases and shit like that, and that's what we do. And I know about this shit, okay? I know that you cannot prove what would happen to a graph beforehand when there's already an established pattern before an event. It's stupid, okay? Here's how it works, okay? You have data, okay, and it goes like kind of like this, okay? And your stats are going this, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and the curve goes like this, right? And you go, well, dude, look at this. At the end there, look. Do you see what's happening to your chat?
See, here's your problem. If I have to look at you to understand what you're saying, if the words coming out of your mouth aren't enough to paint a picture in my head, then the words coming out of your mouth aren't good enough.
Well, it's still going down. So your impact at this particular zone is negative because it's going down. Well, look at the trends before it. It's all going down. No shit, you f***ing moron. Like, you don't need a f***ing time machine to prove that it's already going down, you f***wad. What a balder.
He's getting mad again. And he's not
like, what an actual f***ing balder.
He's getting mad at his imagination of Ethan. That's how delusional he is. Like, Ethan wasn't even getting mad at all. Maybe for like 10 whole seconds, Ethan got a little bit louder. Didn't get mad during that whole fucking argument. And he's still thinking that Ethan was mad and mauling the whole time.
Imagine using one graph like he did and actually try to
and you're getting agitated now even thinking about it.
Use it as proof to anything. That shit is moronic as fuck. The guy makes me look like I fucking graduated from business school. Actual fucking know nothing boulder, man. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, apparently people were saying I didn't see this part. This might have been the part that I stepped away from, and they said this was your strongest argument. So maybe this was a part that I missed that was the best part. But
well, it's when he could have made his strongest argument, but he turned that strong argument opportunity into a dud by saying you don't have a time machine. You can't prove whether or not the graph would have gone up or down.
It didn't decrease more. You are actually wrong about that. I can show you the stats behind it. We can look at it right now. Was it internet? What was it? Archivist or like what was this guy's name? It was internet some bullshit. Archivist. Anarchist?
Yes, archivist. Yes, you said it right twice already.
Oh, this guy didn't chat. Actual goat sizer or something. Okay, he tried to use this. Like, oh my god, that's that. Guys, I'm not trying to shit on the guy who made the video. Okay, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm throwing out the fact that it's Ethan who brought this up. Like it's like the smoking gun. Like,
actually, the smoking gun was the very first example that he gave, where he showed you doing 40 seconds of half-assed crap commentary for a 9-minute video. That was the smoking gun. That was the part where you said, I don't care.
You need to understand, stats, that there is almost a better argument for me for the fact that it declined almost less in actual curve. Literally. It did less than the trends presented before. Literally. I have a better argument against this than he has for it.
And that is true. But you didn't say that during the argument. You said it multiple times now. Why didn't you say that during the argument?
You try to use it against me? What a stupid fucking moron.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Okay. But I think communicating it in a helpful way would be better, right? So, do you have my stream open right now?
So, he communicated.
Hold on, wait.
Do you have my,
I understand. Do you have my stream open right now?
Oh, yeah. Fucking moron. An actual buster, man. Go ahead.
Okay, so the argument that you're trying to make is that there was an established trend, right? That if you look at the viewership, it looks like the trend was in this direction.
And also, the pace at which Destiny is talking is important, xQc.
Okay, theoretically, right?
Yes.
And the argument that you're trying to make is, even though the viewership might have decreased, we shouldn't be comparing the viewership to the next day. What we should be comparing the difference between the new viewership and where the trend actually was, right? So your actual comparison is here. So arguably, right, if you integrated these 2 points from August 1st to August 2nd, and then you took the difference of the two, there could theoretically be a gain in viewership, even though there's a loss on paper in viewership, because the new trend is outperforming the prior trend, right? That would be a way of explaining it, but instead I think you just call him a balding, malding cuck. I don't think you actually illustrate at this point.
Which still is loaded with more facts than his usage of the graph itself, right?
I understand.
So, in terms of actual truth, my proof is way higher than his is. Even though I called him bald, it's still more true than graph being useful for his argument, dude.
Such a child.
I don't know what your goal is right now. Are you just trying to... If you're trying to convince him or his audience, you have to come at it from a nicer perspective. But if you want to like meme on him, you can meme on it. But then you can't be surprised when he's like, well, I feel like this call isn't productive, and then hangs up.
Oh, man. I did pretty good there, to be honest. I called him out on his rap usage.
He still thinks he did good. Jesus Christ. How do you possibly think you did good? How do you think that?
That was cringe as fuck. Okay.
Yes, your argument was cringe as fuck.
On top of which, like he thought this was like a smoking gun. Well, it's decreasing, lol W. That's like some guy saying like, well, dude, whenever when you smoke outside, right? Well, you're causing the earth to to freeze. Here's proof. It's the beginning of winter, and the temperature's going down every day, and you're smoking. I mean, got him, dude, lol. How do you know? How?
I mean, that's a very exaggerated and I want to say aneurysm for some reason. It's not analysis. It's not aneurysm. Yeah, my vocabulary is so bad. Comparison, I guess, is the right word. I don't know. Maybe there's a better word. I don't know why I can't think of it, but that's analogy. There we go. Analogy was the word I was trying to think of. That is an extremely exaggerated analogy. A better analogy would be like saying, okay, you're saying that the graph is not showing, is showing a loss because the numbers are lower. Whereas it's actually reducing the rate of decline. Well, and that, I mean, that's not an analogy at all. That's exactly what happened.
How do you even debate somebody that has so little knowledge instead that he actually thinks that? That's like trying to talk about like some crazy graph theory to somebody who's still putting the shapes in the little boxes. This is a star, and that's a circle, that's a square. Like you can't even begin to explain it. I don't have to.
I don't know. Maybe he's not reached the age where he doesn't understand that insulting somebody is not the same thing as defeating their argument.
Goes into a background of multitude of knowledge and stout understanding. The guy is fucking bricked and bald. You get that?
I don't understand what your... I don't understand what your goal is. Are you trying to convince me of this? Or are you trying to say that you did a good job at convincing him of this?
Oh man. Well, I tried.
Having like the facts is just one part of an argument, especially a debate. The second way is how you present them, right?
Having the facts isn't part of an argument at all. Presenting them is.
Okay. And then while I'm going over right now is I'm just going over your presentation of things. You might have been like factually in the correct part, but that's not really what we're talking about. We're just talking about whether or not the presentation was good or not. That's what we're focused on right now, right?
Okay. Even though you might be correct on this one, right? You're correct about this, right? If he's the one presenting it initially, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like up to him to do a good job of it.
He did. I think he did a good job at winning optically on his end of looking good.
He did a good job of winning, period.
Of like of having a compelling argument in front of his audience, which is really the only thing he cares about, right?
I mean, I have juicers, okay, that are kind of like me, okay? They watch a guy who doesn't speak English 3/4 of the fucking time, okay? And he's bad at everything.
Especially when you're trying to speak English. Right.
And somehow, we looked smarter than these cavemen in this bitch.
No, okay? You didn't.
Bro, he actually tried to use this graph as something of value. The man didn't...
Okay, it was a weak point. It wasn't like he was completely fucking wrong about the point he was making. It was just weak. Damn, grow up.
Pass 8th grade stat or math. It's fucking weird. Like, what?
I mean, technically, yeah, the numbers declined after your upload. It's a weak point if you look at the graph because the decline was slower than the days before. So it's a weak point. It's still a point. The numbers did decline after you re-upload. You could have done a job of debunking that point, but you didn't.
Yeah.
At that point, like pull out the little box of the fucking shapes or some shit. Like, let's do a crossword puzzle at that point. We'll have more success on proving anything with that than the graph that he used. Like,
maybe what? if you spent some time not freaking out about such things, man, just fucking make your point instead of being a spaz. Instead of freaking out and getting angry and throwing insults, make your point.
Fuck. When it was time for my data, to show up, bro just went on a fucking absolute dank mode, like, you know, like, I don't even know, man. I don't know. I guess I suck at debating. I'll get better one day. Okay.
I agree. You suck at debating.
I generally feel like it. I don't mind being bad at it. I think there's always a starting point for everything. I think better than last time, but
yeah, you can. It's just like a deliberate. Like again, like
if you did better than last time, I want to see last time. Holy shit!
I think you're really hung up on like factually who's correct or who's not correct, but that's just one part of a conversation, right? Have you ever seen like the triangle, like logos, pathos, ethos?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, like there are different parts to creating a compelling argument, and just being factually correct is only one part of that triangle. And arguably, there's like even more.
Well, being factually correct isn't really part of an argument at all. Like I said before, presenting the facts is
things to keep in mind than just that, right?
Like what?
Well, like how do you appear in front of the audience? Do you feel calm? Do you seem like somebody they would respect? Somebody they would trust? And then like with the arguments that you're making, are you making them in a dispassionate way that somebody can?
I mean, you could have all the facts in the entire universe in your head, but if you don't present them during your argument, it doesn't matter.
Understand rather than like screaming them at somebody. Like these are all part of like the ethos and the pathos part. Like you're really fixated on the logos part where you're like, well, if my argument's logical, I should be able to say you're a balding cuck, you know, fuck you. But the reality is you're missing out on a lot of the other parts of appealing to an audience by doing that. So even if you are factually correct, the audience isn't going to perceive you that way.
Okay. And you think you think that he did a good job of doing that?
That's what I would say. Yeah, he seemed to be. I know you think he was molding, but I think he was super calm the entire time. I think he was probably pretty happy with how the conversation went. Like,
really? I did not get that vibe.
Obviously, you didn't get that. Obvious, very obvious from what you've been saying this whole time. You think you did a good job, or how you are so much better than Ethan. Even though you completely shit the bed.
At all, just.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, you can always rewatch it, or you can pull your. Or who would you trust? I guess who would you trust to give you that opinion?
Nobody.
An unbiased person. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Here's my actual thought, right?
Do you think Destiny is biased towards Ethan? Because he literally gave you a 2.5 out of 10, and you're like, no, really, no, you're just trolling.
Like this, it's a lot. It'd be about optics, I think, and a lot of it is like, when you're the savior of the world, right? When you're the guy that's the good guy, you're gonna have a much easier job that's going to be cut out for you at proving your point or looking good for optics, right? And overall, right? I think it's fair to say that he had his work cut out for him overall to look good, like he's trying to help the world and all that bullshit. But it should have been a landslide, really, with how bad I'm at optics.
What? So you're saying that because you think Ethan is on a high horse, that he has to meet these fucking standards of godliness, otherwise he loses the debate? Fuck. Why?
It was not a landslide at all. This should have been a landslide for him because he's the cool guy, right? The fact that he kind of like had to just give up on a lot of points and go on in circles. I mean, shit. I think it was chat. You guys did not say that until Destiny said something. Okay, Destiny goes into objective things that you guys don't even understand the concept of it. Okay, and you're just going off of what Destiny says because you want to have popular opinion. You guys never had an actual opinion of your own. Same way that when I did.
So is your chat telling you fucked up the debate too, and you don't agree with them either?
Debates with Tate and shit like that, and you end up being proven wrong later down the line in the fucking VODs, and I called you guys dumb out because, oh dude, because you just think with what chat says and you just copy it because you want fucking validation. You're an idiot.
Stop getting mad at your chat and get mad at yourself for fucking it up because you fucked it up.
True. Some people do that, yeah.
Everybody does that. That's just that's the new age of the fucking internet. Is this?
This reminds me of every single episode of MasterChef, or not MasterChef, but Hell's Kitchen. What was it? Hotel Hell or whatever. He'd go to these places, or I can't remember. He would go to these kitchens. Gordon Ramsay would go to these kitchens, and he would point out the mistakes that they're making, and these people would just act like they did nothing wrong. Like they literally were running the restaurant perfectly. And it was literally the same thing every single episode. He would confront the fucking restaurant owners with their mistakes, and they would act like they did nothing wrong, like they were doing everything they could have possibly done, even as he was pointing out and showing them video of their mistakes. And they would just defend themselves to the death, even though they were obviously things that they shouldn't have been fucking doing.
Wait, do you know if Dark and Darker's out?
Dark and Darker? Oh, that one game. I don't know if it's out yet, right? I feel like I would have seen it if it was. Oh, people are saying it is out.
It doesn't matter who I'm debating. It doesn't matter who I'm debating. Okay. I out of self-respect, okay, not looking like a cucklord, I could not cut somebody off at the end like that and just escape the f***ing dialogue when there's an attempt at resoluting and actually talking further about more points.
The only attempt you made was saying, "I'm not done yet," as Ethan was talking, so he didn't even hear you.
That is like the most cowardly dog shit of all time, especially when somebody's a guest. That's just not the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that or not?
I mean,
if that's what happened,
it depends.
But it's not what happened.
I'm sorry, like, for me, I don't ever like to hang up calls because I feel like I'm correct and I'm good. But like, if you feel like you've won the argument, if you feel like you've made all the points you need to make, and you feel like your opponent is floundering, and you feel like they're not going to say anything else to contribute well, then at that point, I mean, if somebody's like, yeah, fuck it, I am going to cut this person off, I think that's fair.
Yep. I
mean, I wouldn't fault somebody for it necessarily.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know. Yeah, it seems like people's narrative flips on based on what you're saying. It's really odd to me. I felt we didn't really get anywhere. That's all.
I'm wanting to end this call now.
Next time I'll be
another 20 minutes.
Being one invited to do a topic and then keeping the host on track with what we're trying to do now.
Or at least some effort into doing that.
I mean, especially when you're the one who says that I'm the one that's stupid and bad, right? I think you have to make an effort to do better than I do, right? I think we're wrong in terms of optic. You're gonna call me stupid.
No. Someone makes a claim that you do something and they offered you evidence to prove it. It's your job to defend yourself. That's how it works. Ethan made a claim that you were stealing content. He showed evidence of you stealing content. You failed to defend yourself.
And bad and a child, right? I think it's up to you to show that you can do better, right?
Mm-hmm.
But him cutting me off from the get-go, that's kind of crazy.
Again with the cutting off. He didn't.
Good job of that.
He didn't do it. He cut you off once.
Yeah.
And then offered you plenty of time to continue, and you just rambled and did the worm.
No.
Okay. I would just say next time just make an outline. Like having the factual parts, that's the hard part. So you've already done the hard part. So just like making an outline and having everything set up that way would probably be pretty helpful, I think. That's the best thing to do, I think.
I'll do that. Well, what happened with your family?
What do you mean?
I said some thread says your family something.
Oh, I'm trying to help my parents get their financial stuff sorted out because my mom is kind of approaching the end of her healthy life, I think, because she's got Alzheimer's disease.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
My stepmom has Alzheimer's also. It's a shitty situation.
They need money or something or what?
It's it's not just that. There's other things too. Oh, I guess actually if your audience is listening, one thing I'm trying to do is they've got like fucking 13 cats. I'm trying to adopt that.
All right. Well, I'm not going to continue watching this if they're just going to talk about their personal lives. Thank you very much for tuning in. And that's going to do it for our coverage of the xQc Ethan Klein argument. Appreciate you very much for tuning in. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. And any of those are extremely important to us as a brand new channel. So every single subscription or like or subscribe, or I already said subscribe twice, let's say it 5 more times. And those are very critical. If you want to get notifications of when I'm live, which is most days, I don't have a regularly scheduled time that I go live, but it's most days for at least a couple hours a day. And not every day, but most days. And if you want to get notified of when I do that, or if I upload a video, hit the notification bell and you'll get those notifications. Again, thanks for tuning in, and I hope to see you soon in another episode. Bye for now.